as we're saying now that we've gotten to the National Star newspaper, the National Star is leading with the story, shock as Senate block probe of 9.9 trillion 2024 budget failure. Shock as Senate blocks probe of 9.9 trillion naira 2025-24 budget failure. Approves second extension in 7 months. Approves second extension in 7 months. National Assembly becoming an embarrassment. Senator Moro, Dixon, Mingi, others kick. National Assembly becoming an embarrassment. Tinubu's government losing credibility. Senator Abdullahi is saying that. Tinubu's government losing credibility. That's the lead story from the National Star this morning. And besides that, it says cracks in SDP as National Working Committee, GABAM, disagree on suspension. The SDP is also unfortunately recording these cracks as the National Star newspaper this morning tags it. It says federal government clears backlog of retirees' pensions. That's good news. Federal government clears backlog of retirees' pensions. That is another sector or we cannot afford to play with. We cannot afford to play with the retirees' pension. It's bad enough they are not active to go work. It is insulting to put in 35 years of service and not have your retirement. Rest is sweet after hard work. But in this case, it's not sweet when after putting so much hard work, after giving your best years to working, you still have to struggle to get your pensions. So it's a good thing that the federal government has cleared the backlog of retiree pensions. I'm hoping moving forward we will no longer be recording this kind of experiences where we are still talking about pensioners struggling to get their own pension, their own monies. INEC, ADA, as some of you may already know, is the new coalition, the political party. I mean, I've had conversations and gotten to know that it may not be a political party that is trying to be registered now, but it is a part of that coalition that comprises top shots, top big names, big figures from the APC, PDP, Labour Party, SDP, and other political parties. That's convergence. They call it the All Democratic Alliance. The alliance of them is being championed by the likes of the ex-governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai. We have former vice president and presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar. We'll have Babachir Lawal and many others. According to INEC, ADA, others yet to fulfill registration requirements. The funniest thing is, when you do have conversations with these individuals that are championing the ADA, they tell you, no, we are not trying to register a political party because we understand that it's too short, but we may adopt a political party. So who's going ahead with this registration that INEC is referring to? Beats me, I tell you, but nobody's taking credit for it so far. During an interview that the former SGF, Babachir Lawal, conducted a couple of days ago, he admitted that it will be too late to register a political party and mobilize for the elections. It will be easier to adopt one. A lot of Nigerians are also asking, are you going to adopt a political party with the convergence of several ideologies? Won't that be a problem moving forward? Are we not still finding those issues with the APC at the moment? The NNPP is still struggling from the coalition and alliance that happened, that formed or strengthened the NNPP. How about the APC? We see a lot of people who tell you this isn't what we brought to the table. The agreement is no longer agreeing, like young people will say these days. But that's it for the ADA story. Right below the masthead of the National Star newspaper, who's your national secretary? INEC asked the PDP. Who's your national secretary? And I like the way the National Star phrases it. It's definitely going to get your attention because there's been too much back and forth with the PDP. They have they have told INEC, announced that they will soon have their NEC meeting, their conventional NEC meeting, I think, and that would give direction to where the PDP's head is at. It's very, very embarrassing when we look at the PDP these days and tell ourselves, isn't this supposed to be the strong opposition party that would ensure that this administration works and is on their toes? But they're suffering their own rifts, internal rifts. And the INEC is asking who their national secretary really is. 53 suspects arrested over Benue Plateau killing, says the IGP. 53 suspects. Imo State, I have surpassed Udenwa or Hakim, Ihedioha, Okorocha combined in development. Governor Uzodinma is giving himself that pat on the back. He says he has surpassed all the development or all the initiatives and programs that was introduced by all 4 other governors combined. Okay, but did this. He is giving himself that pat on the back. And at the footer of the National Star newspaper, Nation Reborn, CAR's remarkable transformation under President Tudaria. Multi-choice chairman MD, others in court over alleged breach of FCCPC Act. WHO bemoans data gap as Nigeria records fresh 1,562 cholera cases. Global oil price drop as Iran-Israel agree on shaky. The National Star calls it shaky ceasefire. But the President of America, Donald Trump, seems very confident that he has ensured that ceasefire. Moving on now to the Business Day newspaper this morning. The Business Day has here as its lead story. The big story here is electricity market reform. Electricity market reform, speaking about the reforms demand state-level financial viability. It says electricity market reform demands state-level financial viability. Yes, our executive governors have to do more in ensuring that reform works and bringing that viability necessary for energy to thrive in their states. It's very interesting to see how states will now manage electricity. Would it be better? Would it be worse? We would see. We would see. And it will be a beautiful time to know who's doing better than the other. That healthy competition we keep talking about. And I wish there were better awards. Sometimes when I look at awards, it's really frustrating for me. I want to see awards where you're talking about how well a state is doing, considering their ease of doing business. Now that we've added electricity to the list, you can say, oh, how well is this state doing in provision of energy and sustainability of it. Dangote Cement EBITDA crosses 1 trillion mark. Securities and Exchange Commission's tenure limit triggers succession fears among CEOs and directors. And that's it for the Business Day newspaper. Quickly, we get to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Remember that the FCTA and our minister, the Minister of the FCT, Honorable Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, has a 17-day commissioning. Remember that. So often you see these adverts splattered across newspapers. And when I'm saying it's not just small, you cannot miss it. You cannot miss it. So let me take you through what's in stock for us today. What is he commissioning today and what this advert is about? It says President Tinubu to commission Kubwa Road, Wole Soyinka Way interchange bridges today. President Tinubu to commission Kubwa Road, Wole Soyinka Way interchange bridges today. He says the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, CON, and the Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Maria Mahmood, on behalf of all residents of the FCT, welcome His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to the commissioning of the newly constructed interchange bridges of Arterial Road 20, that's the Wole Soyinka Way, over Outer Northern Expressway, that's the Murtala Muhammad Expressway, happening today, Wednesday, the 25th of June, 2025. Venue is the Wole Soyinka Way or Annex Interchange Bridge, Katampe Extension. That's really close to the studio here. 2 p.m. is the time. 2 p.m. is the time. And if you want to attend to see what it's all about, that's where you attend. It's been a couple of days now. I'm not sure how many days we've gone, but remember, this is a 17-day commissioning spree by the FCT minister. Like he said, it is to commemorate the second anniversary of the president's administration. The second anniversary of the president's administration. That's what he's doing to commemorate. Like I said it yesterday here on the show, that imagine that for a moment other ministers were doing same in their little way and commemorating, let's say, even if that be the catch here, commemorating the president's second anniversary with initiatives and programs cutting across other ministries, how much we would see in impact. I'm talking about meaningful impact, meaningful development, not just construction and projects, but one that affects human capital development. We act as if the inflation we suffer is rocket science. We can't solve it. We also act as if we are oblivious about why food prices have gone up. We act as if we are oblivious. We act as if we do not understand why there's a cholera outbreak, and we act as if we do not know why we are recording 214, according to the report yesterday. 214 women die daily here in Nigeria because of maternal issues. We act as if we do not know what to do, like there's nothing to be done. As if you revamp primary health care facilities, you would not solve half of the problems that are there. Revamp those facilities, get routine drugs available. Let's have doctors and nurses working in those facilities, not in cases where pregnant women get to those facilities and they say, oh, sorry, there's no doctor on call, and the doctor will come, he comes twice a week. Well, I just wish we had this recorded across board, where we are celebrating achievements of all other ministers. I would say from where I'm sitting, I can point at some that are doing their best to work. We'll see the little drops of impact here and there, but it's also not sufficient enough. I wish the president's renewed hope agenda would reverberate in his cabinet and see individuals who are just as interested. Now, above the masthead of the Vanguard newspaper here, it says 2 appropriations in 1 year. 2 appropriations in 1 year. Expert react as National Assembly okays rollover of 2024 budget till December 2025. And the rider here says, Reps' effort to curb multiple budget fails. Reps' effort to curb multiple budget fails. Nigeria's financially bleeding. Okay, Nigeria is financially bleeding. That's what Senator Abdullahi is saying. He says 2027 polls others diverting attention from governance project delivery. Senator Dixon is saying that, and experts have reacted. All of this on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper, and I agree with this statement that the attention has now gotten to 2027. Everyone is planning again. Consultations are ongoing, engagements all towards 2027. What happens to governance today, here in 2025? In some times, they say it is the governance that would assure you a second ticket. That's in places where voters the votes count. That's in places where there's awareness, voter information is rife. That's in instances where the voters too in themselves have their head right, all are patriotic enough to want more for Nigeria, and not what has it gotten me today? Has it gotten me, oh, is his tiny bag of rice bigger than the other one? Yes, but yeah, we have constantly talked about how important it is to look into governance. That's the most important. It's not about 2027. It's not about leadership. It's everything about governance. Dividends of democracy. I will say it today, I'll say it tomorrow, I'll say it every time. That is what will get you that necessary vote that you so crave for. Okay, moving on from that, police arrest 48 over Benue massacre, Plateau killings. Police arrest 48 over Benue massacre, Plateau killings, and beside that story, we have strikes continuing in Iran, Israel, despite Trump's ceasefire announcement. Yes, we had taken that story earlier where we talked about President Trump taking credit for trying to stop the to start a truce, a ceasefire from both Iran and Israel. But with that we end the stories on the Vanguard newspaper. I'm quickly move to the last paper. I'll be taking now the Daily Times newspaper. Who is your national secretary? Yakubu asked the PDP. INEC is asking, who is your national secretary? The PDP should answer that question. Right above the masthead of the Daily Times newspaper, Rep summon health minister over alleged misuse of funds. Rep summon health minister over alleged misuse of funds. 10 dies, scores injured in Ibadan multiple accident. That's a very sad one there. And at the footer of the Daily Times newspaper, Army cautions Southeast residents on manipulated content. Army cautions Southeast residents on manipulated content. The Senate extends implementation of 2024 budget to December. Senate extends implementation of 2024 budget to December. Now we have multiple budgets to appropriation bills in a year. Murder of 12. Our constitution guarantees freedom of movement, Kaduna governor is saying. Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria moves to automate airports fully bans cash payment. Fully bans cash payment. I remember a couple of days ago, I almost caused traffic in the airport as I did not have cash, and I wanted to pay with my card or do a transfer. And the gentleman there insisted that, well, you have to pay cash. And well, I do not have. Because in some times, just swipe your card and pass. You don't have to cause traffic at all. Even in train stops, you swipe your card and pass, and for crying out loud. So yes, it's good that the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria is considering automating this payment so that cash do not have to change hands. You go there with your card, swipe it and pass. Swipe and pass. It doesn't have to be rocket science. As a matter of fact, some of those people who have to sit there in all those booths may not be necessary. Technology has come. So let's see a more transparent process where you can account for the cash. So that's it for the newspaper review segment. It's time to go join a by day with sustainability. Pause. Remember, that's where she gives us a very important conversation around the environment, climate change, what you can do to be responsible, and so much more. Stay with us. We'll be back after that.
episodes, we've spotlighted youth action, celebrated women-led innovation, and unpacked the policy gaps. But today, we ask a question many people ignore when discussing sustainability. Can faith and culture change the way we treat the planet? Stay with me, because the answers might just surprise you. Every week, millions of Nigerians gather in churches, mosques, traditional shrines, and community meeting grounds. These sacred spaces shape how we think, how we dress, how we marry, how we mourn, how we relate to people. They shape who we are. So why haven't we used them to shape how we consume plastic? Picture this. What if your place of worship encouraged you to bring your own bottle? What if church harvests stopped using styrofoam packs? What if a community festival proudly declared itself zero waste? The truth is, sustainability is not just science. It's spiritual, it's cultural. And when faith and tradition join the environmental fight, plastic doesn't stand a chance, not at all. We're going to shoot on a short break, and when we return, we shall, deep dive into this conversation and see how we can use faith and culture to shape the way we live sustainably. We're going to short break and be back.
Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to The Pulse.
Welcome back from the break. And just before we left off, we said faith and culture, how they shape our living sustainably. Imagine every day we are constantly living and, taking our actions based on what we know. Be it a traditional awakening, be it a religious one, whatever it is, you are shaped by something. And just imagine your faith-based organization is driving this conversation on living sustainably. Now, let's begin with 3 stories that show this intersection. The intersection within faith and the environment is constantly happening. But let us show you 3 stories. The late Pope Francis, in a global address early this year, called plastic pollution a moral failing, urging people of faith to choose simplicity over convenience. Yes, simplicity over convenience. During Ramadan, several Nigerian Islamic leaders joined the Eco Ramadan campaign, asking mosques to avoid plastic cups and bags when breaking fast. Some even distributed reusable prayer mats made from recycled plastic. Yes. Globally, indigenous communities in Brazil, Kenya, and the Philippines are pushing for legal recognition of nature rights, arguing that forests, rivers, and land have inherent rights, not just economic value. Now, these are not just moments, they are movements. Faith is not silent. Culture is not irrelevant. They are powerful tools. We just haven't wielded them boldly enough. Now, spiritual responsibility. Let's talk a bit of theology and stewardship. Christianity teaches, in the book of Genesis, that humans are to tend and keep the earth. That's not a license to dominate. It's a call to care. Islam emphasizes the concept of humans as guardians of creation. Prophet Muhammad reportedly advised against wastefulness, even at a river. Indigenous Nigerian traditions, especially among Yoruba and Igbo communities, hold deep reverence for trees, for rivers, and sacred groves. Desecrating nature was once taboo. Yes, it was once a taboo in these regions. So why did we abandon this? Let's be honest. Modern worship spaces are full of plastic fans, disposable cups, cellophane bags, all in the name of convenience. But what if respecting the earth was seen as part of worshiping in itself? Cultural norms and rituals. Let's look at our festivals, naming ceremonies, funerals, traditional weddings. One owambe can generate 200 to 500 kilograms of plastic waste. Yes, from bottles, packs, straws, and table covers, all dumped, all burnt, all polluting. Yet, traditional Yoruba culture once served meals in leaves. We used clay pots and used wrappers, instead of bags. Yes, and the EVG, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, the Osho Festival and other cultural events can be leaders in returning to earth, honoring practices. Yes, they can, because they use natural things. They don't get to use the plastics we use. Can we go back to echo wrapped in leaves instead of nylons? These days I see echo, our local echo, that's is it corn now? Is it made from corn? Yeah. Wrapped in nylons? No. Can we wear our ashoke, our ashoke, our shoebi with pride, and a cloth bag slung over our shoulders instead of branded plastics? Yes. Can we do that? Can we go back to that? Culture evolves, and we can innovate within tradition. We don't have to abandon, but we can innovate within tradition. Faith-based mobilization. Let's imagine every Friday's sermon includes 30 seconds on plastic reduction. Every church bulletin has a green tip at behind. Every harvest, every Eid, or even wedding, they use washable plates and of course reward sustainable behavior within the church community, within the mosque community. Yes, faith-based institutions own land, they reach hearts, and they influence behaviors, and that's the truth. We all hold on to something, and we all believe in something. Now, what can they do? They can host recycling drives. They can build eco parks and gardens. Even lead community-wide pledges against single-use plastics. Organizations like Faith for Earth, and Green Faith are already training faith leaders globally. But we need more Nigerian representation. I recall I was in New York in February, and I met some faith-based NGOs who were actually in the room discussing social development issues based on the blueprints available, in the United Nations. They were there arguing. These are faith-based organizations, faith-based NGOs, discussing how blueprints like the SDGs, like the Copenhagen Declaration on Social Development, discussing how these things affect us, how we can all be part of these conversations. These are faith-based NGOs. They are leading the pack. So why not? Why don't we have representations from Nigeria? And when spiritual leaders rise, communities follow. Honestly, communities follow. Here's one powerful idea. Ask your church, your mosque, or cultural group, ask them questions. Ask them to dictate. We can decide to actually ask them to dictate a day to just care. Imagine, let's just get practical now. Imagine, what does it really look like when faith and tradition become tools for environmental stewardship? It could be Green Friday sermons in the mosque. Imagine if every Friday, imams took 1 minute to talk about our divine duty to protect creation, from water conservation to plastic pollution. The mosque could encourage reusable ablution container instead of disposable sachet water, organize cleanup after Juma, campaigns where young worshippers collect waste around the mosque or community. They can also collaborate with local environmental NGOs to hold short workshops after prayers during Ramadan. A simple word from the pulpits could change hundreds of habits. Echo Sundays in church. Churches are pillars of influence across Nigeria. Imagine if parish bulletins included a green tip of the week. Church Harvest served food in reusable plates instead of disposables. Children's Sunday school included nature care lessons from Genesis or Proverbs, reinforcing that creation care is a form of worship. Honestly, just imagine all of this. Congregations could even launch green ministries, small groups responsible for waste collection, upcycling, or tree planting. Plastic-free festivals. Imagine in traditional communities, they decide to actually do a plastic-free festival. Think of the vibrancy of our various cultural, festivals, from the Igogo, Iriji, Songo, and all of those beautiful festivals. Now picture them with cultural pride and environmental discipline. Caterers using leaves instead of styrofoam. Market sellers, ditching plastic bags for baskets or biodegradable wraps. Performance promoting waste-free messages through masquerade songs or chants or dance. Community elders and custodians of tradition can issue declarations. This year's festival shall be plastic-free in honor of the land. Why not? These things are very, very possible. So we're going to short break, and when we come back, we shall look at the simple actions that work across all contexts. Simple actions that work. But stay with us, we'll be back shortly after this break.
Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to The Pulse.
Welcome back. Just before we went on this short break, we talked about how, religious leaders or leaderships can drive conversations around environmental stewardship and what can be done. Just a simple declaration, a simple act can make a whole lot of difference. Now, simple actions that work across all contexts. You don't need a big budget, just big conviction and collective will. Here's how. 1, collect plastic after events. At the end of worship, cultural gatherings, or naming ceremonies, place labeled bins at exits, mobilize youth groups or women's wings to lead post-event cleanups. Yes. Partner with recyclers to collect the plastics. Yes, that can be done. This turns every celebration into a cleaner community. Absolutely. Now, teach children about waste. Children are already learning alphabets. Why not teach them about the 5 R's? Refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, rot. Use storytelling during sermons or folklore evenings to link wastefulness with consequences. Organize eco squats, or green altar servers. Imagine me having green altar servers. Children who help track waste and suggest better practices. When they grow, they will definitely lead. Set up a compost or reuse bin, whether it's the mosque courtyard or the church backyard or the village square, wherever it is. Dig a small compost pit and teach people how to dispose of food waste properly. Designate bins for bottles, cans, or reusable wrappers. Organize weekly sessions where women learn how to turn waste into wealth, either weaving, briquettes, or even craft. Over time, these small steps create a secular economy powered by culture. Faith leaders have voices, cultural leaders have platforms, and communities have power. When they all come together, what you get is not just waste management, but values transformation. From sacred places to sacred habits. This is no small joke at all. Let's start now. One sermon, one Sunday, one ceremony at a time. If just 10% of religious gatherings did this monthly, Nigeria will cut tens of thousands of kilograms of plastic annually. That's the truth. Because we have power. My people, science alone cannot beat plastic pollution. But science plus faith, that can. Culture alone may preserve identity. But culture plus sustainability, that preserves the earth. Let's not separate the sacred from the sustainable. Let's not keep creation care in the lab. Let's take it to the pulpits, to the palace, to the family compound. Because when faith aligns with science, we don't just recycle waste, we restore meaning. That's it for our Beat Plastic Pollution June series. But here on Sustainability Pulse, we'll keep talking the talk. We'll keep saying what it means for you to live sustainably. We'll keep talking about what it means for you to drive sustainable future, for you to live a sustainable life. And do not forget to actually follow us on all our social media handles. And if your faith or culture inspires your eco journey, tag us. We are glad to feature you. Feature either your imam or your pastor. We will talk about them. Let the people know that these people are leading the charge. But do not forget, beyond the faith-based organizations driving these conversations to action, in your home, do not forget, in your small bedroom, in your living room, practice this responsibly. Use your reusable bottles. Go to the malls, to the market with your own shopping bag. Say no to single-use plastic. Reduce plastic. Refuse it. Recycle it. And all of this is to do what? To save your life, to save yourself, and to, of course, to save the environment. And guess what? It all has a ripple effect. You're saving the environment, you're also saving your life. So the whole idea is for us to live responsibly and live sustainably and live with purpose. To live a purpose-driven life, you need the earth to be in good shape, but you need to work hard. You need to work purposefully. You need to be intentional about your life, about the earth. You need to drive sustainability, in the full measure of it. No half measures. So, ladies and gentlemen who are watching, children who are watching, our dear imams, our dear pastors, our dear leadership, in our traditional settings, everybody who is listening, this is for us. We need to drive conversations to action. We need to ensure that we actually save the earth, save the environment, so that at least we can keep preaching and driving people to salvation. So we need to save the earth and preserve the earth. So do not forget that it's all our responsibility to save the environment. Imagine all of us being part of this solution. Imagine us driving this conversation. Of course, the world will be a better place, a healthier place for everybody, and nobody will be left behind. So see you next time until our next episode on Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide. Every Mondays and Wednesdays from 9 o'clock to 9:30. Keep it a date with us. We're here to give you tips. We're here to charge you to join this movement. We're to ensure that we all live responsibly and drive the conversations to action. To ensure that sustainability is worked toward in our schools, in our communities, in our churches, in our homes. And of course, until next time, do not forget, living responsibly is living sustainably. I beg my pardon, please. Living sustainably means living responsibly. Okay? And until next time, I'll see you here on Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide for all your sustainability updates and, of course, your news, your tips, and, of course, your charge. See you next time. Bye-bye.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance.
Hello there, I'm just having a good time right here in the studio. That was Sustainability Pulse with Air by Day. Well, it's time to go join Daniel Black with the agriculture for today and tomorrow, where we would be learning some more about smart farming, how you too can participate in this endeavor that will get all of us fed rather. I'm just so excited. I'm getting my words wrong, but you know what I mean. Let's feed ourselves and feed our nation, and just maybe we can also feed others across the world. Daniel Black is about to do his thing right now.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream, GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream, GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future.
Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow, where we promote smart solutions for greener harvests. You know, here we try to ensure that we support the food security plan that is being developed in Nigeria. And how do we do that? By encouraging private individuals, farmers, and every other person to adopt sustainable practices, which has been agreed globally all over the world as the solution to food insecurity in Nigeria. Today we are going to be talking about how to implement biosecurity in the farm, and this is the second episode, part 2. Remember, we had started that in our last episode, how to develop a biosecurity plan, and we are going to be continuing from there. You know, in the first episode we had established what biosecurity is and why it is relevant that every farm should set up a biosecurity plan. Now we have started the series on how to actually do it, because that is what we do here. Teach and ensure that biosecurity, teach and ensure that sustainable agricultural practices are being carried out, are being taught, and are being implemented. So let us go right into it, so that to ensure that we maximize the time. So we continue on our the plan for biosecurity. So how do you get the number? So we enter number 4. We go into number 4 now. Hygiene and sanitation. Hygiene and sanitation are key and integral parts of biosecurity in the farm, because if you allow your farmers to walk around in dirty clothes, and remember, this has been the former cultural norm, where if you are a farmer, you believe you have the excuse to be dirty. You see people leave their farms after doing ridges, after doing heaps, and they walk into the road going back home, and they are justified in their minds that they have a very justifiable reason to be dirty. But unfortunately, in sustainable agricultural practices, dirtiness is not part of agriculture. Hygiene is very, very key to ensure and keep a safe and healthy farm, and it is one of the key components of biosecurity. So regularly clean and disinfect animal housing, feeding equipment, and vehicles. Hand washing stations should be installed in all key locations in the farm. Safely dispose of manure and organic wastes to prevent contamination. You understand that in the farm, by the time you use your hoe in one region, for example, if you were farming, doing weeding or whatever farm operations you were doing in one plot of land, and let us say that that plot of land was infested by nematode. Nematode is a major pest in the soil that attacks the roots of most crops. By the time you carry that same hoe to another portion of the farm that does not have nematode, without washing, cleaning, and disinfecting, you have successfully introduced nematode on the other part of the soil. It is important that you establish a routine where for every demarcated plot in your farm, after work has been done, farm implements, farm machinery, Workers should clean up themselves, disinfect themselves before they go into another place, meaning that in your farm there should be no cross-walking. If you come in the morning and 2 workers are assigned to work in plot A, 2 workers are assigned to work in plot B, on no condition should plot A worker be walking into plot B just to go and greet his friend, just to go and gist. During break time, they can all have a central break period, a central break location, breaking area, resting area, where they can sit. And of course, during working time, they minimize contact amongst themselves. When they are done, they should be going back to their plot. And for every exit and entry, there should be some degree of cleanliness or re-immunization, if I must use that word, back into the field. So it is important. Hygiene is very, very important, because by the time you use clothes that have carried some infestation from the farm, from other parts of the farm, remember, flood brings flood water, air, wind brings things from different various locations, and we keep on using these different things. And like I mentioned last time, people use gutter water to mix their chemicals and spray. You are not aware of what has been dead, what animal has died in the water, or what chemical has been poured in the water, or what contamination is available in that water, and we use it to spray on our food, the food items we eat. And most times you notice people even spray this 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 days to harvest, effectively allowing that contamination to remain in the crop that they are harvesting. And mind you, it is not all chemicals that easily wear off. You say, oh, don't worry, as they are growing, it will wear off. There are some chemicals that maintain traces of the contamination even 1 month after spraying. So it is important that we fix up hygiene. Talking about feed and water safety, I've already made a mention of water here, the kind of water we use, where we ensure that we also use clean water to do operations in our farm. The fact that you are spraying it on the crops does not mean that the source of that water does not matter. The fact that you are using it to wash harvested crops does not mean that the source of that water, people fetch water, maybe it was raining and then there is a puddle of water on the ground, they fetch it and use it to wash, or use it to wash their farming implements. This water most likely is washed out from the topsoil of another environment. It could be washed away from a mechanic environment where grease, where engine oil and all form of metallic contaminants have been infested on that ground, and then water washes off from there, pools in front of your farm, and you use it to wash your farm equipment. You use it to spray on your farm equipment or on the crops, and then effectively causing contaminants. And because there is no random spotting check for our farmers, these things go into the field, and in fact, the moment they go into the open market, they're not able to trace, because we do not even have traceability in our farms. Now, water storage, feed storage, water quality, these are also key important components of our biosecurity plan in the farm. How do you store your feed? Do you store them in places that are wet? Do you store them in places that rain can have access to them? Do you store them in places that pests and rats and rodents have infested? And then rats, after eating in different places, rats are vectors. Rats carry diseases, and then they begin to nibble on your feed, the feed that you use to feed your animals in the farm, effectively crossing saliva, effectively crossing bodily fluids. And sometimes you even kill these rats, and you're not careful the way you kill them. You kill them and spill their blood, maybe because of the method you use, knife, you use stick to hit on it, their blood spills in the storage place, and then nobody actually intensely cleans this with disinfectants. And then you drag your feed, you spread your feed on that same ground, and then you pack it to go and feed other animals. Biosecurity entails that there has to be a plan for cleaning your storage facilities, whether you are storing inputs, you're storing feeds, you're storing tools, whatever you're storing. It is important that you make sure that your storage environment remains clean, constantly, routinely disinfected, to ensure that there is no transfer of diseases, of vectors, of pests from one part of the farm to the other. And then finally, we'll also talk about pests and wildlife control. Now, pest management is very, very important. There is actually, as part of biosecurity measures, there is what we call integrated pest management. Now, most farmers are very quick to always use chemicals. There is snake in your farm, you want to spray chemicals. There are birds are attacking your farm, you're looking for chemicals to spray. Rats are attacking your farm, you're looking for chemicals to spray. Flies are in your farm, you're looking for chemicals to spray. Sometimes these things are in your farm not necessarily because of your crop. Them eating or ravaging on your crop could be a byproduct of something else in your farm. Have you gone to trace, are there dead animals that are attracting this? Or, for example, if you get to see so many snakes in your farm, is there a place where frogs, is there a place where the things that snakes eat, is it close by? That is what you should attack, and that is what will reduce the number of snakes. Or in fact, is there a snake habitat around there? So most times the use of chemicals are not usually the solution to pest invasions in your farm. You must find other biological means. It could be relocation of those things. If there is anything that is dragging, if there is a pit where there are frogs, you close that pit that is attracting some of the pests that are in your farm. You close that pit. Now, if it is because of your crops, you also find other biological methods. There are pheromone traps. There are different types of traps there are sticky traps that could be used to reduce the pests affecting your farm. Chemicals most times should be the last resort when there is a serious infestation and other means have proven unuseful. So, wildlife exclusion. It is important that we also, so that we do not force ourselves to get to kill, because most times when we go into forests, thick forests, bushes, to go and turn them into farms, we forget that these were habitats, these were dwelling places of other animals. So the moment we begin to set up our farm, it's also good we set up perimeter fencing, we erect barriers that will stop wildlife from coming into our farms and introducing different kinds of diseases or different kind of pests or different kind of organisms that were not around that farm. Because after a while, after 1 year, 2 years, it is expected that you would have conditioned your farm and you would have had only the beneficial organisms in your farm. What are beneficial organisms? We have worms, crickets. These are beneficial organisms that help to burrow the soil and create air in the soil. So it is important that we do that to ensure that we do not, in the process of managing pests, actually eliminate the important and the useful organisms that are helping our soil to open up, helping our soils to grow and become nutritious. That is all we'll be taking on this episode of Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow. And I remain Daniel Black, your host as always. It is always exciting to share this knowledge, share this information with you. In the next episode, we'll be doing the closing episode for how to develop a food safety, a biosecurity plan in your farm. Thank you so much. Join us on social media as we continue these conversations. Do you know any other way of managing your feed, managing your hygiene, and managing pests in the farm? Drop it in the comment section on social media, and this conversation will continue. See you in the next episode.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the.
That was Daniel Black with Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow, but that concludes today's edition of Aso Morning. It's been yet another wonderful one where we got to look at the headlines this morning, discussing what matters to you, and then we got to discuss environment and then agriculture. We'll be back tomorrow with a more interesting edition. Do have a productive day.